Welcome everybody. Hello, hello, hello. It's your boy Ghost here. We're back. We're finally back, baby. And what better day to come back than Mother's Day? So, first and foremost, ladies and gentlemen, I hope everybody's having a great day, afternoon, evening. And to all the moms out there, happy Mother's Day. Obviously, it's Mother's Day here. So, big day, of course. Mother is important. You know, mom is the one who picks us up when we're down. Mom's there to always listen to us when we're having a rant or a rave, or if we're just complaining about something. Mom's always there during our good and our bad days. Mom's always there to pick us up, and mom's always there to show us undying love. Mom is always devoted to her family and to her home and to her cause. And honestly, there's really no other person in the world that loves you more than mom. So to all the moms out there, on behalf of SFR, IRL, and GT45 Gaming, you're absolute legends. The world would be definitely a horrible place without our moms. We love you so much, and I hope you guys are all having a fantastic day. I hope that you've picked up the phone and called mom, or given her the big juicy hug, and I just really hope that everybody's having a fantastic day. So we are here today on ACC. Everybody, welcome. Appreciate everybody stopping in. We got Ian coming in with the thumbs up over on Facebook here as well, ladies and gentlemen. Much love and the share. So we're going to be doing round 6 at Bathurst here again this week. So what happened was due to some technical difficulties, some red flag situations, and just what time it was for some of the racers, they opted to postpone the race until this week. So we're back this week here for round 6 at Bathurst. And what you guys are just looking at right now is you're just kind of sitting in pit lane here with the drivers. They're just running some free practice right now. Free practice will run for about another 15 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. And then it'll move into qualifying. So a little bit about what we're doing here today is we are in Spain. We're at Barcelona de Cataluyna. And a very young racetrack, ladies and gentlemen. The racetrack's only approximately about 30 years old. And it was inaugurated in September of 1991, and the very first race ever here at Barcelona was actually a Spanish Touring Car Championship. And then the first F1 race was September 29th, 1991, just shortly thereafter the championship race at Barcelona. So a little bit of history about Barcelona. Obviously, like I said, it's a very young racetrack, so it doesn't have a whole lot of illustrious history, say like a Silverstone or a Brands Hatch or a Daytona, you know, Indy, you know, stuff like that, right? But very well-known racetrack. It's very world-renowned, and it has very, very good championships. Everybody loves racing on it to start with, so we're just going to jump on board with MX here, who last week, if you guys remember, was our pole sitter in both the qualifiers. So he's going to be looking to repeat that this week, obviously. And he's got a little bit of a special Mother's Day tribute on his car here today. So we're going to definitely watch him go around the track here a couple of times while we're talking here, ladies and gentlemen. So a little Mother's Day tribute on the livery there from MX today. So and of course, you see lots of pink on the cars as well, and yeah, everybody's just here and excited and wants to put on a good show for mom and make mom proud. So all the drivers are going to be looking for the big fat race win here today for sure for mom. And it should be a good race. So it was definitely working out to be a really good race last week. So I highly, highly doubt anything's going to change. The drivers should definitely be ready for this race. Actually, they're having an extra week to practice, dial in their cars. So we're just going to go over some of the standings here, whatnot, while we're in free practice here. And we have time. Vic coming in with the like and the share as well. How you doing, Vic? Much love, much love. Good luck today as well, my man. So this was round 5 at Bathurst 2 weeks ago, ladies and gentlemen, and we have Marco, who finished in first place, with JP driving for IRL in second, Catch in third place, Autista in fourth, Gelspeed in fifth, Boosted in sixth, Little Mac in seventh, Rig Pig from IRL in 8th. We had Shark Attack in 9th, and King finishing out the top 10 in Bathurst 2 weeks ago. Madam Mel coming in with that like and that share as well. How is everybody doing? I think we need to make that game volume a little bit louder. What do you guys think? It's not very loud. We'll sort that in just a moment here, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, we'll sort it right now. I'm having some controller issues here. Alright. It's not one thing, it's another, ladies and gentlemen. So let's remove that. Let's go into our driver standings here, ladies and gentlemen. My apologies. I've been having some technical difficulties over the whole week here. We just got things sorted. So this is overall standings coming into round 6 here today, ladies and gentlemen. And SFR driver Marco is in the lead with 225 points. SFR driver Catch in second. SFR driver Boosted 45 in third. We have IRL driver JP in fourth. SFR driver Sephiroth in 5th. We have Jetpacker for IRL in 6th. We have MX for IRL in 7th. Autista for SFR in 8th. Melina for SFR in 9th. And Little Mac for SFR rounds out the top 10 overall in standings with 78 points. And he's got a very, very slim margin on the drivers behind. There's 2 drivers tied behind there for 77 points. So the race definitely has some big implications here today, as Marco's not in the field here today either, ladies and gentlemen. And overall team standings after 5 rounds, ladies and gentlemen, is Team SFR with 1,179 points and Team IRL with 781 points. So Team SFR currently with a very sizable lead over Team IRL. However, there is still a drop round in effect as well, ladies and gentlemen, and that drop round has not come into play yet. So when the drop round comes into play, it will most certainly shake up the points as far as individual standings goes, and of course as far as the team standings goes. So it's going to probably tighten things up, if anything, and should really make for a final good solid push to the championship run at the end of the series here. We're just going to make a little adjustment live on stream. I apologize. There we go. Alright, we are good to go. So we're just in free practice right now. And MX is, again, currently sitting first right now in free practice with the fastest time on track currently. So looking good again here today. And his teammate JP, who also was in second place both qualifying rounds last week as well, sitting currently second fastest on track as well in free practice here, ladies and gentlemen. So both these drivers are still on point with what they had going last week. It's going to be a really great race. Team IRL is looking very, very strong here at Barcelona here today. So I think they're going to really give SFR a run for their money here today. It's going to be a fantastic race. So let's go take a look at our field. Let's go see who's all here. So we do have driver MX, who we've been following here for the last couple laps. We have teammate JP right there behind, just coming in the pit lane in the Porsche. We have Melina for Team SFR on track here in that Bentley. We've got Sephiroth from Rockefeller Racing also on track here today for Team SFR. We have Tango 2. Oh, Gale Speed just moving up there as well for Team SFR. Tango 2 for IRL. We got RWB's Little Mac here for Team SFR. We've got Magic Man, Rockefeller Racing for Team SFR. We have PREC King Puerto Rican Esports Club or E-Racing Club. I'm not sure which one it is. I keep forgetting. I always get mixed up, but that's what that stands for, PREC, ladies and gentlemen. He's with Team SFR. We have Darmel with Team IRL as well, and he's driving that Lamborghini. Darmel driving the Bentley as well today. We got Rig Pig and, of course, that poor Jaguar, sorry. And Team IRL, Shark Attack as well, Team IRL, ladies and gentlemen. Then we've got Boosted for Team SFR. We've got Rockefeller Racing Spec 1 for Team SFR. And I'm not sure who this one's driving for. I think it's Team IRL, but I'm not 100% sure. So if I'm wrong on that, I do apologize, ladies and gentlemen, as I believe he's stepping in as a reserve driver here today. So that does our field. We do have 16 guys on track today. Last week we did have 20. But we do have 16 here this week, so it's still going to be a really good race here today at Barcelona. And of course, we are racing here at ACC today, so a little bit different than what we're used to seeing over here in GT45 Gaming, but nonetheless, these guys put on an amazing show. Very, very in-depth simulated racing game ACC is. I mean, you have to worry about every little fine detail with these cars: your toe, your camber, your suspension, your roll cages, your tire pressures, the amount of fuel you have. Just every little thing that you can adjust in real life, you can adjust on these cars in ACC. It's a very simulated game based. You know, they do their great job at basing it off of what you would expect racing a real GT3 car on the track. So, very simulated game. So the drivers have a lot going on while they're racing on the racetrack, and not only on the racetrack, but even when they're doing their pit stops, they got to decide whether or not they're going to take tires or they're going to take fuel. And in this race, it is a mandatory two-stop race, ladies and gentlemen, so they do have to stop 2 times during the race, but there is no tire change requirement this week. The only requirement is that the drivers do have to take fuel during both these pit stops. So they can come in and just take 1 liter of fuel if that's what they really choose to do and dart right back out of pit lane. But just to put it into perspective for everybody, if you take tires and fuel in Barcelona here, you're looking at about a 30-second pit stop without fixing any damage, of course. Damage always adds extra time to your pit stops, but we're just talking about just a straight tire change or fuel situation. Now, with that being said, some drivers may opt to not even change tires during the race and just try to run the race on a no stop for tires. And I do know from some of the drivers' information that this track eats up the left-hand tires pretty good, so it might be risky for a driver to do a no-stop on tires here today, just because obviously with heavy tire where you're going to lose time on track, and you have to kind of decide, I guess, as a racer, whether or not it's worth losing the 1 or 2 seconds a lap on track, or biting the bullet and taking the 18-second tire change difference, basically, is what it relates to, ladies and gentlemen. That's the point I'm getting at here, slowly but surely. A fuel stop at ACC will just be roughly about a 12-second stop, where if you tire change and take fuel, you're looking at about a 30-second stop. So you can save 18 seconds in the pit lane by not changing your tires. So there's a couple of different ways that strategy really can work out here today. And it'd be interesting to see how the drivers opt to handle that strategy as the race progresses. So it's going to get a little confusing throughout the race, because obviously drivers are going to be on different pit strategies. They're going to be stopping at different times. So we're going to have to manage all that, of course. And I'm a bit of a noob here on ACC still, so I'll do my best to keep everybody up to date with who's still on lead lap, dude, because of pit stopping and etc. And all that fun stuff as we're going through the broadcast. So again, if you're new to the broadcast here, we are doing what's called the SFR versus IRL challenge. So Team IRL has hooked up with Team SFR, and they've come together with this little ACC series where both their leagues have challenged each other. So we see a combination of Rockefeller Racing and PREC drivers over at Team SFR for the most part, and then we see a large variety of drivers from the IRL group that just don't have any real racing tags on their names, so we don't know if they're parts of racing teams or if there's something specific going on there. But both these leagues have great drivers, great group of guys, and they love to compete, and they're having a great time here so far this season. And unfortunately, we missed the round 5 at Bathurst due to more technical difficulties, but hopefully now, knock on wood, that we have all that stuff sorted out here, and we can just bring you guys an absolutely clean, crisp, beautiful looking broadcast here today. And the sounds of ACC are pretty spectacular too, you know, I gotta say. So we got about 2 minutes of free practice left. Let's jump on with SFR leader Catch here. So Catch is the man behind the SFR league. He's the man behind the series and does, you know, all that stuff behind the scenes. He does a great job over at SFR too, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely fantastic leagues, both over on ACC and Gran Turismo. And of course, Rockefeller Racing. He's also the team leader over at Rockefeller Racing. I believe he's the founder of Rockefeller Racing too. And just really an outstanding, good, awesome, wholesome, pretty chill guy. And he will actually be live streaming this race over on YouTube. So if you go over to YouTube and just search Rockefeller Racing, you'll be able to catch this race from his point of view as well, as he's over on the Rockefeller YouTube channel, of course, live broadcasting his point of view in his race. So, you know, head over there and say hi to Catch from GT45 Gaming and show him some love over there on YouTube. But I mean, lots of the guys are live streaming. I believe Choco's probably going to be live streaming. We know Sephiroth over on Twitch is going to be live streaming. I believe Gelspeed will also be live streaming. So lots of drivers here will be streaming their own point of views. Just none of them are on Facebook, so we can't tag them for you guys, so you can just quickly pop over and take a look. But they're all over there, ladies and gentlemen. But if you do jump into the SFR Discord there are links to all these guys' broadcasts there, so you can definitely, if you want to go check it out from different point of views, you know, if there's a particular driver you're kind of curious about or you want to follow, go check out their live stream, see how they're doing, go say hi. They're always interested in talking to, of course, their fans and, of course, new viewers as well, ladies and gentlemen, so. And Catch has been doing really well this series as well. Obviously, as we see in the point standings there, he's just sitting quite well in the point standings as well overall. So even though he's a very modest guy, he's a very humble guy, he always says that he's not going to do well, and then he gets on track, and he always seems to have really, really good races. So we obviously will expect to see Catch in that top 5. By the end of the race, but I mean, racing is racing, ladies and gentlemen. Anything can happen. You can get caught up in an incident, or you can get caught up in traffic. You can have a spin. I mean, we all know how it goes, ladies and gentlemen. Cars are cars. They break. They do funny things. They snap. They oversteer. They understeer. You know, just stuff happens, ladies and gentlemen. So anything can happen. I mean, it's anybody's game. So I'm gonna jump up with our chopper pilot here. As you just get a really good perspective of the track together in a whole here with this great view in the helicopter cam here at ACC. So this is what we're going to actually be watching the race start in here today. And we're actually going to start a little bit in the middle of the pack here today. And I guess the objective there is just to try and oversee the whole field going into turns 1 and 2. And I just don't want you guys to miss any of that beautiful action really going into T1 and 2. You know it's always exciting going into T1 and 2 on any race. So we're just going to try to do our best to get you guys as many of the cars in the shot as possible here today. So we're going to put our helicopter pilot, definitely going to put him to work here today over in Barcelona to give us some great camera shots throughout the race here today. And we see Catch now jumping in there. So qualifying is now starting, ladies and gentlemen, and we're going to jump on with MX. And the reason why we're going to jump in with MX is obviously he was pole sitter both qualifyings last week after the red flag called the first race there, and then of course we had the technical difficulties in race 2, and then the guys just opted to postpone the race till this week. So MX did manage to hit pole both those qualifying, so I do anticipate to see that he's going to be sitting on pole here for today's qualifying as well. Now there have been a few changes in the rule set. Darmel, what's up? How you doing, brother? Much love. Have yourself a good race today, brother. Go give him hell out there. And I lost my train of thought. Right, so the red flag situation, ladies and gentlemen. Darmel coming in with the massive sub there as well. Much love, my guy. Appreciate you. Big air horn for Darmel. Big part of the community. Welcome to the winner's circle, my guy. And so what's going to happen, ladies and gentlemen, is there's actually not going to be any red flag situations in the race here today. So due to some stuff that went down and a few conversations and blah 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 blah, you know, the good stuff that happens behind the scenes, the race officials decided to eliminate the red flag situations here for the remainder of the series, and that's just due to the difficulty of being able to really properly assess the situations at hand, just due to the way that ACC works as far as even a spectator goes. So there will not be any red flag situations here today, ladies and gentlemen, and all that really does is adds up to the spiciness of the beginning of this race. It is absolutely gonna make for a very interesting race start. So we're gonna see one of two things at the start of the race here after qualifying today. One of two things is gonna happen here. Either we're gonna see what we saw at the first start of the race last week, and the guys are just going to be a little bit too aggressive on those cold tires, and there's going to be a little bit of a mumble jumble going on, or the guys are going to go extra cautious through turn 1 to make sure that they get through nice and safe, and then it's going to be race on from there. So one of those two things will happen. That's the way it always goes, especially at Barcelona. T1 and 2 is kind of a mid to high speed set of corners, and it's a chicane, and you got 16 cars barreling down on it all at the same time, so everybody's kind of jockeying for that early position. So it's just going to be really interesting to see how this race plays out here today. But, you know, these drivers are very competitive. They're top-notch drivers. And obviously the goal of any of these drivers is to get through clean. So if we do see incidents on track, it's never intentional, ladies and gentlemen. It's just guys, you know, different situations. Maybe one driver had his tires up to temperature a little bit better than the driver in front of him on the start, so when they go to start, maybe he gets a better run at the race start, right? So if he's got the better run, he's going to try and jockey for that position. Sometimes that creates a little bit of chaos, sometimes it doesn't, right? It all comes down to every situation is different. You can do a race restart 100 different times at the same racetrack with the same drivers, and every single race start will be a different result. It's just the way it happens. It's just the way it goes. So that's the beautiful thing about racing. It's unpredictable. You don't know what's going to happen. You can only guess. You can only, you know, take your best shot at predicting who's going to win the race or what's going to happen during the race. And that's what makes it fun. That's what makes it a sport, right? So, yeah. That's why we love it. That's why we like to watch it. So we have, what do we got? 11 minutes and 20 seconds remaining here in qualifying, ladies and gentlemen. So, Barcelona obviously, to date, holds all sorts of championships from all sorts of different varies of motorsports. They have the MotoGP, obviously, with the bikes there. They have the GT3 and GT4 championship series there every season. They have Touring World Cup Car Championships. They have LMP1 championships. They have Formula 1. They have Formula 2 they have, like, if it's motorsports and it's on wheels and it's quick, it's hosted at Barcelona. And that's just the big events, you know. That's just the big sanctioned, sponsored events. We're not talking about all the other stuff that happens over in Barcelona during all those weeks in between where there's not a major event going on. These guys probably have a lot of, you know, sports car events and muscle car events and Miata events and probably all kinds of cool little races that happen here in Barcelona. It's a really great racetrack. It makes for really great high-speed racing, but it's also a very technical racetrack, so you really got to be on point. And if you're not on point, the racetrack makes you pay big time. So we're definitely going to see some of that, I'm sure, from some of the drivers today. We're going to see some of the drivers make those little mistakes that are going to cost them big time. And I guess the question is can they save the car and keep it out of the wall, keep it out of damage, keep the car safe? I mean, at the end of the day, for that 1 hour endurance race, the main priority as a driver, obviously, is to try and put yourself in a position so at the end of the race you have a shot at the race win. But most importantly, especially in the first half of a race, is just keeping your car very safe and sound. You don't want to be making contact with other drivers. You don't want to be abusing your car early on. You don't want to be jumping over the sausage curbs. You don't want to be forcing yourself out wide on the curbs. You're just really trying to keep the wear and tear on your race car itself down to an absolute minimal in the first half of the race. And then the second half of the race is when your brain starts to calculate, when you can start to push. And if you take care of your race car very early on in the race, it's going to give you a race car to compete with at the end of the race. So, in my opinion, as a driver, not only as a broadcaster, but also as a race car driver, especially in endurance racing, to me, the most important thing necessarily, and this is something that obviously I've learned the hard way too, ladies and gentlemen, it's not necessarily about position at the beginning of the race, but about keeping your car safe and sound in its optimal running condition and giving yourself a chance to compete for the race win at the end of the race. It's not always about jumping 4, 5, or 6 positions right at the beginning of the race. You can't win the race on lap 1. So patience really does play a large factor in racing, and you do see that in professional motorsports on a regular basis. The most patient drivers very often do very, very well in the races. Now, I'm not saying that they're always going to be the ones that win the races, but the patient drivers, the ones that are very calculated and don't make those high-risk moves very often and just, take it as it comes at them, those drivers always seem to place very well. And you don't need to win races to win championships, ladies and gentlemen. You just need to finish well. And patient drivers, that's why you see a lot of the patient drivers in real motorsports always sitting on top of the standings at the end of the seasons, because they just finish very solid. They're very consistent drivers. So patience does play a major, major factor. Of course, understanding your car, having a good car setup obviously also plays a factor, and driver skill plays a factor as well. But at the end of the day, you need to be patient, you need to be calculated, and you need to keep your car safe. And if you can do those things, you're always going to give yourself a shot for a good placement at the end of a race. So I am honestly expecting to probably see that from most of these drivers here today. These guys just want to have a good, fun, put on a great show for Mom Race today. So they're not going to want to be banging and clinking into each other, obviously. They're going to want to be running clean and making beautiful passes and having great battles on track, and that's what it's all about. So, and it's funny, we sit here and say we're going to follow MX through our qualifying here because we do expect him to sit in provisional pole, and there he is, 144.385. Now that's even faster than his fastest lap last week during qualifying, ladies and gentlemen. So he is showing some crazy speed in that Audi. And JP not too far behind. He's only about 0.3 of a second, just a hair under. And then SFR's closest driver is PREC, Molina, and he's about 0.5 of a second behind. So again, MX and JP really showing some dominance here very early on in qualifying at Barcelona. But again, you're not going to necessarily see these drivers laying down these blazing laps like this all race long, because obviously what we were just talking about for the last 5 minutes is about keeping your car in good shape for the end of the race, right? So qualifying, the guys are going to push their cars because you want that optimum best time. You want to get the fastest time on track, give yourself the best starting position. And we see what looked like to be Magic Man coming off the tractor and getting out of the way. Shredding that sign there, Barcelona. So you know how that goes. But now, keeping in mind, too, ladies and gentlemen, while these drivers are racing here at ACC, there are track limit penalties and stuff like that. So there is live marshalling in the races via in-game, of course. And if you cut that track, I believe if you get 4 track penalty warnings, you will get a drive-through penalty as well. And drive-through penalty can really be devastating to your race here. So the drivers are really going to have to make sure that they're not pushing those track limits during the race as well, because obviously all the drivers want to avoid that drive-through penalty there. So nobody, even at 12 seconds or 18 seconds just for the drive-through, that is a significant amount of time, especially if you're in a really good tight-knit group of good hard tight racing in pack too. You don't want to be losing that position. So drivers definitely got to be on point, making sure that they're keeping within the limits on the track, because the marshals, they're no joke here at ACC, man. They will make you guys pay. They will make the drivers pay for those mistakes. Ian coming in with the massive £5 donation to MacMillan Cancer Support. Ian, my guy, you're an absolute legend, man. I love you so much. Thank you so much for your support. And we are supporting MacMillan Cancer Support over on GT45 Gaming on Facebook, ladies and gentlemen. So if you do want to make a donation, just head over to GT45 Gaming on Facebook. And right where you would make a comment in the chat section is a little donation button right there. You just push that button, it takes you right through the process. It's 100% safe, secure. And we just had Ian Travers coming in Facebook. They're making a £5 donation to MacMillan Cancer Support. Much love, my man. Much appreciation. You've definitely helped some family in need. Maybe have a little bit of a smile on their face going through what they're going through. So we love that. We absolutely love that. Absolute angel, absolute legend, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get GG's Ian up in the chats and just to show that support. For some reason, it's not showing up on my Streamlabs, so I do apologize for seeing it so late. So currently we're seeing MX sitting provisional pole. We have JP sitting second provisionally, of course. PRC's Molina finishing sitting in third provisionally. So let's go back to the garage and let's go find a new driver that's still running here. Let's see if let's go on board with Molina and see if Molina can take some time off of JP and MX up ahead of him here during qualifying. We said his name 3 times in this broadcast chat. We haven't called him Imolina. Hey, we're finally getting it right. We're finally getting it right. And we got a car you just see sitting off on the side of the track. They're obviously out of the racing line, so there really should be no harm, or in the way of any cars on their hot laps here. But get down to that ground level camera there. Great shot by the camera crews here at Barcelona today. And Molina is pulling it off the track. It looks like he has had enough here. There's still 3 minutes left of qualifying, so there is enough time to get another lap in here yet if a driver opts to. So we'll see if that's what Molina's doing here. No, it looks like he's going to pull himself off the track here. Oh, he's still going to go. All right, well, who else we got left on track? We still got JP on track. We've got Catch, who's now moved up ahead of Boosted in 4th place here. Boosted currently sitting 50. It looked like he had a little bit of a spike there as far as connection spike goes, so hopefully that sorts itself out. And then we got Tuami. We're gonna call him T. We're just gonna call him T. So we got T. I believe he's reserving for IRL today. I could be wrong about that though. If somebody's in chat who knows and wants to correct me, feel free. Sephiroth here sitting currently in 8th. We got Spec 1 currently sitting in 9th. Little Mac, Spec 1 also stepping in for reserve here today. Little Mac's in the pits here. We got Tango 2 sitting currently 11th. We got Magic Man currently sitting in 12th. We got Rig Pig in 13th. We've got PRC's King in 14th. We've got Darmel in 15th. And we've got Shark Attack currently sitting in 16th here to round out the field in that Lamborghini. So this is just qualifying, ladies and gentlemen. The race will be starting here fairly quickly. We're going to be looking at a race start in approximately 3.5 minutes, 4 minutes. So we are going to we're going to jump on board with MX here, and right through what he's looking at here. This is a really kind of a cool shot here at ACC. I kind of like this one, because you're literally looking at what he's looking at in the car, so it gives you a really good perspective of what he's dealing with as he's going around the racetrack here. And the only downside is obviously the audio is extremely loud. I think we'll have to do hood cam. Let's do hood cam. We'll do hood cam for our review today. You know, as I've been doing research, as I've been kind of watching other broadcasters broadcast sim race events especially, obviously I always want to try to be the best broadcaster I can be, and I always feel like I can always improve from one broadcast to another. And the one thing I have started to realize is that it just feels more realistic to try and use the realistic camera angles that you actually see in real motorsports racing. So we're really going to start trying to do that a little more often through our broadcasts here on ACC and over on Gran Turismo as well. So we're going to be kind of starting to lean more towards the lines of what you really see on a real motorsports broadcast, to bring these broadcasts to you guys, just to try and keep as much of the realism there for all the viewers and the fans as possible. So it's something that we're working on here, and it's just you know, a way for me to try to always step up my game as a broadcaster and as a commentator. So we're having a lot of fun here on ACC too, let me tell you. It's a lot different, so it's a lot of information for me. It's a lot of stuff to take in. There's a lot of research involved behind it, and yeah, it's just really great stuff. It's cool, very, very cool the way that ACC works, right down to the setups, right down to how the races start and finish. I mean, you have the warm-up lap to get the air pressures up in your tires. You line up, you start the race. You know, it's just everything about it is just absolutely so realistic, and that's what really makes it fun. It makes it a lot of fun as a broadcaster. It makes it interesting, because you know, every little mistake can really cause damage to the race car and can really affect that driver's pace. So when you see those little incidents, those little taps, you know, they have implications in ACC, where in Gran Turismo they don't. A little tap, it might lose you some time, but at the end of the day, it's not necessarily really going to cause you any long-term effects on your race or on your race car. Here at ACC, everything really does matter. So yeah, it's just really fun to watch. And if you guys are seeing an issue or if you're hearing an audio issue, please don't hesitate to let me know. Obviously, we like that constructive criticism so we can get you, again, the best broadcast we can give to you guys. We want to make sure that it sounds great, obviously, on the audio end of things, and obviously the video. So far, it looks like we've got everything sourced out with the issues we were having with the stream. Everything's looking really fantastic today. So I'm really happy about that. So that means we're going to have a great broadcast here today. We know these guys are going to put on an absolutely great race for us here today, because they always do. And we're almost getting ready for that to happen here now, ladies and gentlemen, as we see qualifying has come to an end here. So with that being said, we will have MX in P1. We will have JP starting in second place right beside his teammate. We'll have Catch sitting in P3, Melina P4, Gelspeed in P5, Boosted P6, T in P7, Sephiroth in P8, we got Spec in P9, we've got Little Mac in P10, we've got Tango 2 in 11th, Magic Man in 12th, Rig Pig in 13th, we've got King in 14th, Darmel sitting 15th, and Shark Attack rounding out our field in 16th place here. So what we are going to do is we're actually going to jump on with Boosted. And we're going to let the guys come out. We're going to let them do their warm-up lap. You'll see these cars doing a few different things during the warm-up lap, especially if you're new to ACC, ladies and gentlemen, or new to sim racing in general. You're going to see a couple of things that you might have questions about here once these guys go out onto their warm-up lap. And what you're going to see is you're going to see guys swerving back and forth, left and right. You're going to see them revving up real quick, taking off and stopping really fast. You're going to see a lot of different things like that. And the reason why you're seeing that is because the drivers are trying to build the air pressure up into their tires. And now the reason why they need to do that is obviously they have an optimum air pressure for race pace that they have designed to be in their cars to give them their optimal time, their fastest time. So the objective is for the race start is to try and build up as much of the air pressure as you can in your tires to get your tires to that optimum air pressure temperature as quickly as possible. And if you can get it close at the race start, you should get a really good race start and be able just to dial right in within half a lap, maybe 2 laps. But if you don't get that air pressure built up enough on a race start, it could hurt you. You could end up with some wheel spin, which could create a little bit of a jumble at the start line with all the drivers behind you. So you are going to see a lot of that at the warm-up lap. You're going to see the drivers swerving side to side. You're going to see them accelerating and decelerating really quickly, really aggressively. And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to scrub their tires in. A loose term, scrubbing their tires in. Get the stickers off them, get a little bit of grip into the tires, build up that air pressure so they stick to the road better. Hopefully by the time that the race start comes, you have some grip built into the tires already, and you won't be able to full send it, but you'll be able to get into corners 1 and 2, 3 and 4 with a little bit of grip underneath your car, which will allow you to hopefully get clear of the pack. So this is what we're seeing now. We just see the cars loading up on the start grid here. Good luck, gentlemen, says Darmel. Absolutely, good luck to yourself, my man. Enjoy. Have fun out there. Everybody go out there, make mama proud. That's the most important thing. Making mama proud. Alright, so we are, again, sitting with Boosted. And this is a really great shot right here, isn't it, ladies and gentlemen? And it looks like we have one driver missing off the grid here, so I'm not sure what's going on there. Oh, he did. Yeah, I was just curious. I only see 15 cars, so... Now again, ladies and gentlemen, there isn't red flag situations in play here today, so I don't think that is going to cause for them to reset. It's really unfortunate that the driver disconnected. I don't know how it works here at ACC. Maybe you can get back on track in time and start from the pits, but...
20 seconds.
Gonna start from the pits, yeah. Okay, there we go. So we do have confirmation. He's just gonna start from pit lane.
seconds.
So on the bottom left of the screen, ladies and gentlemen, you see driver names. Of course, you see their car numbers, and what you see beside their car numbers on the right-hand side in orange is a little number 2 there. And what that's telling us is that all these drivers still have both of their pit stops remaining. So once the drivers have completed both their pit stops, then you'll see that orange turn to green. And that's how we're going to know that that particular driver has completed both their pit stops here in the race. And I will we'll make note of that, of course, a couple times throughout the broadcast. We're just going to pull that off screen currently for now. And obviously, of course, the series, ladies and gentlemen, I forgot to mention, which is my bad, totally my bad, and I apologize, sponsored by Coach Dave Academy, ladies and gentlemen. So, obviously, huge shout out to Coach Dave Academy for being sponsor of the event. And, yeah, Coach Dave Academy over on YouTube, ladies and gentlemen, go check it out. Really great content over there. And, we just see the cars just kind of jockeying around here. We're going to see, as we see JP there in the Porsche, you see him really accelerate and really decelerate. You see the cars swerving side to side. They're just trying to build up that air pressure in their tires. They're trying to get a little bit of heat. A little bit of heat means a little bit of grip. A little bit of grip hopefully means a really good race start. So, yeah, should be an interesting race. So, we're just chilling here. Get up in our helicopter cam here. As we are sitting with 6th place driver Boosted. Now, typically we like to sit with our race leader at the race starts, and Boosted again having a little bit of a lag spike there. So hopefully that sorts itself out. It looks like he's really struggling a little bit there. Maybe it's me. It could be me. Well, let's see how this is going to go. Good luck. Good luck, gentlemen. Good luck. We are definitely in for a treat today here in Barcelona. T1 and T2 is going to be exciting, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be exciting. It's just going to be exciting. We are going to bring our little timer up here though for the race start, just so I can kind of keep track of the drivers and about 8 of the drivers, anyways. See who's what and where. And we really do see Boosted is definitely having a little bit of lag spiking here and there. So hopefully that doesn't cause an issue here for the racers and, of course, himself. So we're starting to come around into the final sector here, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to come around the long sweeping curve here, and then it's going to be race on. And I cannot think of the corner name right off the top of my head for that last corner. The final corner here at the racetrack after the chicane is called New Holland. Now, the chicane doesn't have a name, and there's a few corners on the racetrack that don't have a name. And the biggest reason why the race track doesn't have these corners named is because these are changes that the racetrack has just recently made to make it safer and slow the cars down in certain sectors of the racetrack, of course, for safety concerns and safety reasons for all the racers. So some of the corners don't have names here at Barcelona. That is why these are just new changes made to the racetrack for the safety of all the racers involved. So only about half the racetrack currently has names on the corners right now. So we are green, ladies and gentlemen. We are kicking it off here. Let's see how this goes. Everybody's coming down this long straight. Now, T1, T2 is a chicane sector. It's called Alpha Renault Corners, ladies and gentlemen. We have one driver out a little bit wide in the back of the pack there. MX and JP are coming in side by side. Cat is going to be side by side with Melina there, I believe, as well. So, looks like everybody took that pretty safe and sound. That was a great race start, ladies and gentlemen. We didn't see any drivers spin out. We didn't see any drivers get pushed off track there. So, nice, beautiful, clean race start here at Barcelona today, and it is game on now. So let's do this, ladies and gentlemen. Very early on, we see JP taking the lead from MX up ahead. Catches in third, Melina's in fourth. We've got Boosted now sitting in fifth place as he's gotten ahead of Gale Speed. Sephiroth just behind. We do see a driver off track just behind her. I believe it was whoever was behind Little Mac there. So really great race start here by all the drivers very early on here. Looks like it was fairly clean. Looked like it was fairly clean. So, great stuff by all the drivers here. I know that was a big concern by a lot of the drivers here, not having a red flag situation in play, and they handled it absolutely beautifully here. Every single car looks like they got through safe and sound there. So, race on. Let's do this. Barcelona Round 6 IFR SFR Challenge, ladies and gentlemen, and JP does have the early lead for Team IRL. So we're now going to jump into our garage here, and we're going to go jump on with our race leader, who currently is JP. And this is kind of what JP's seeing right now. He's actually gotten himself a little bit clear from teammate MX there in the Audi. He's had a really good run through the final sector at Barcelona here. And pit lane is now open, is what we're hearing from race control there, ladies and gentlemen. So, yeah, JP looking absolutely blazing fast here today. He was sitting in P2 to start this race, and off to a really fantastic start here. As you can see, he's already opened up a 2.1 second gap on teammate MX behind there. And we can see third place Catch, fourth place Melina Boosted. All of them are right there, not too far behind these guys either, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to have a good race here. Now, we're going to see names flashing blue here throughout the broadcast, and what that tells us is that means they're lap traffic. But because of the way the pit stops are here today, that's not necessarily going to be the case, ladies and gentlemen. They're not necessarily going to be lap traffic. So, yeah, a little bit of an interesting thing. So we're just going to knock down that volume here for a second. It's a little bit loud in my ear, so that tells me it's probably a little bit loud on the stream. So JP again just absolutely trying to pull away from the pack here currently, and does have a 2 second gap on MX's teammate, and then MX has about a 1 second gap on third place's Catch just behind, and then you can see a little bit of a gap from third to fourth. Oh, we got a driver spun. We do have a driver spun, so we did see a driver just spin out there. I believe it was Boosted. It was most certainly Boosted. So Boosted did have a spin there. Now whether or not that was due to contact, we're unsure. But we definitely caught that at the very tail end of the camera shot there. We did see Boosted go around. And I don't know if that was just due to the leg spiking we were seeing earlier, or if he just made a mistake there. So we do have a little bit of a battle between Spec and King here for P10. So let's jump on board with that battle here currently, as we're on board with 10th place driver Spec 1, and he does have PREC's King just behind. Now, obviously this was a lot closer when we first come over to this, but let's see if King can line up Spec here and get a move done, or if Spec can try to get away from King here. Now, ideally, this is kind of a track where I think bump drafting and slipstreaming can really kind of come in handy here. So we may see these guys maybe even try to work together a little bit to try and catch up to the drivers in front. So Spec is behind a couple of the IRL drivers with a teammate behind him. So it'd be interesting to see if we can see some team play come into factor here. And you can see that beautiful green coloring on the car here today. Rockefeller green, of course, ladies and gentlemen, or as close to it as obviously the drivers can get here at ACC. And you see King really made up a lot of time in the Lamborghini on the Bentley right there into that corner. Now, obviously the Lamborghini is going to be a lot better in the corners probably than the Bentley, just due to the nature of the car. But you can see that Bentley has pretty good straight line speed, so the Lamborghini actually under competition in a straight line. So you can see King really trying to make up his time in the corners here and get that run out of the corner. But you see Spec got a really great run in that Bentley. Got the power down really early there and actually drove away from King in that Lamborghini there. So currently Spec's doing a really good job of keeping King behind him there, but we will be keeping our eye obviously on the battle as it progresses. So let's just continue going through our field here. Let's see what else we got going on track here. And it looks like we have had Boosted retire from the race. So we are down a driver here. Now, I don't know if that's just due to a connection error or if it was just due to mechanical failure on the race car, but Boosted has retired from our race here today, which is really unfortunate. So Team SFR is down a driver here currently at Barcelona around 6. So JP still looking really solid in first place here, but teammate MX is starting to shave that time down on JP. It was 2 seconds last time we checked on the timing, and now we're just a hair over a second apart from these two drivers. So MX is starting to gain that time up on teammate JP. We have Catcher who's in third place. He's a couple seconds behind those drivers, so he's got a little bit of work to do. But again, we do have 2 stops to make here in the race. There's a lot of strategy involved in the race here today, and it's going to be really interesting to see how all that plays out at the end of the race. So we have Molina in 4th place as we're coming through the chicane here, and then we're coming into what they call New Holland. Now the chicane doesn't have a name yet because, again, it's a new addition to the racetrack here over the last few years for race safety, of course. So we have Gillespie sitting in 5th place. We've got Sephiroth in 6th. We've got Little Mac sitting in 7th, with Tango 2 just behind Sephiroth there. So let's jump on with Little Mac as we see this little battle developing here. As we're coming into T1 and 2, and again, those are the Elf and Renault corners. And oh, we got contact. Little Mac has gotten into the back end of Sephiroth there and spun Sephiroth out. So he does stop and obviously wait for Sephiroth to get back on track there, but getting himself into the wall there as well. So he's suffering some pretty serious damage in the race here as well. We'll have to see how that works out for poor Little Mac there. It looked like he just missed or went late into the brakes a little bit there. I think that's all that came down to. And he got into the back end of teammate Sephiroth there, which is really unfortunate. So Team SFR is having a very tough run here early on in the race here today, which bodes well, obviously, for Team IRL. So back up to the front of the pack here, ladies and gentlemen. We do have our race leader, JP. And as we can see, MX is really starting to close the gap up. I mean, 1 second is nothing, and 1 second is one little mistake by that driver in front, and you're within that slipstream range. So we continue to monitor the situation of all the other drivers on the racetrack, obviously, ladies and gentlemen, but for the time being, we are with our race leader, JP, and MX is starting to close up just a little bit there. So JP early on already coming up to some lap traffic here as well. So it might have been a driver that pit due to damage and is just a little bit behind the rest of the pack here. But JP got a really great run out of New Holland corner coming down the start-finish line here, and got a great run on his teammate MX there. But that Audi looks really solid coming in through the corners there. So and again, if you're just tuning into the broadcast, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for being here. We are on ACC today, and we are broadcasting the SFR versus IRL challenge. So this is a league versus league challenge. I believe it's an 8-race series, and we are in round 6. So it could be, I'm not 100% sure on that. I keep forgetting for some reason. I don't know what it is. I have to get into the ACC mentality here still in my brain, I think. But we just seen JP getting around that lap traffic there, and I'm not sure which driver that is. I believe that's King. I believe that's King. Shark Attack. No, my mistake. It was Shark Attack. So it was one of the 2 Lamborghini drivers. I just couldn't remember which one it was offhand. So JP obviously getting around the lap traffic fairly quickly, so that should allow him to open up a little bit of a gap on teammate MX here now as well. And we do see that. You see that gap up to about 1.5 seconds here. So Joe coming in with that like and that share as well. Much love, my man. Hey, man. Good luck, drivers. Good luck, gentlemen. Love it. Love it. Absolutely, my man. And MX is currently sitting, again, 2nd place. Now, MX showing some fantastic pace in qualifying, but JP was also just right there behind him in qualifying. So really between either one of these 2 drivers, it might come down to which driver makes the least amount of mistakes here today. And then we have 3rd place driver Catch, who is almost 5 seconds behind here currently off the pace of the 1st and 2nd place drivers. And we don't see really a whole lot developing here for 1st place at the moment. So let's go see what we can find for some battles on the racetrack. We see Catch now just getting around Shark Attack there as well in 3rd place. So great job there by Catch, get around nice, safe and sound. Of course, great job by Shark Attack as well to abide by the blue flag rules. And we see Molina now coming up on Shark Attack there as well. We have Gel Speed sitting in 5th. We've got Tango 2 sitting in 6th place in the Bentley there as well. We've got Darmel sitting in 7th place, and he's battling with Sephiroth there. Sephiroth getting really deep. So let's jump onto this battle as we see Spec is right there in the conversation here too, ladies and gentlemen. So let's definitely get on board with this battle here, as we're currently on board. Oh, and he does make the mistake, so Sephiroth's going to get the run. Spec now bottled up in behind here as well. And as you can see, Sephiroth there just getting around, but making a bit of a mistake. So going to get a response from our driver here, who I can't remember his name all of a sudden, from Darmel here. A great battle going on here right now. We have Spec in behind these guys. We see Shark Attack just on the back end of these guys here. Sephiroth has managed to get around Darmel, but not easily. It was a battle between these two drivers going through there. And now we're coming up through the final sector here. Spec now looking on the inside, coming into the next corner. Oh, we see a little bit of a mistake from Darmel. I'm not sure if there was contact or if he just made a mistake. It looked like the back end of the car got a little bit loose when he got on throttle there, and it just allowed Shark Attack and Spec to get through. So really unfortunate for Darmel there. He was battling really hard with the other two drivers there, Spec 1 and Sephiroth. So great job, all three drivers there, for managing that battle. And race on, ladies and gentlemen. Whew, that was a little juicy battle there. I'm glad we decided to find that, because oh, we would have been sad to miss that battle. That was really great. So now we have Sephiroth up in P7. We got Spec in 8th. And King getting 9. So Darmel dropped down 3 spots there in that battle there. And all that was just a little bit of a braking mistake. We got Magic Man here in 11th as well. Rig Pig and the Jag in 12th place. We got Shark Attack now currently sitting in 13th. And we've got T. We're going to call him T. That's his name today. We got T in the McLaren here. He's sitting in 14th. Now we have seen SFR drivers Boosted and Little Mac now retire from the race here. Obviously, we did see Little Mac get into Sephiroth and suffer some pretty severe damage there. So potentially that is mechanical failure in his car as well, ladies and gentlemen. So we do have 2 of the SFR drivers out of the race today. And that's definitely going to make implications coming into this points tables moving forward as well. So Team IRL definitely going to try and capitalize on this here today, as we see JP and MX now potentially in a battle for first place here. So let's jump on board with driver MX as he's chasing down teammate JP. Now, I guess the big question here, ladies and gentlemen, really is, are these guys going to opt to work together, continue to pull a large gap on third place driver Catch, or are they going to battle for this position? It looks like MX is going to go make a move here right now. And JP didn't fight that. He just let him go by there. So great job by the teammates there. MX now our new race leader here on lap 8. So JP did lead the race for the first 7 laps here for Team IRL, and has now moved down into second place. His teammate MX has passed him here in the Audi, but JP's right there. And JP's not just going to let him drive away like that, I'm sure. And we see a mistake from MX right there. So now JP is right on the bumper of MX there. So great little battle by our drivers here on track. We're going to jump into helicopter cam here. And of course, helicopter getting some really great racetrack coverage here in Barcelona today for us. So you can see how close these drivers are. I mean, you can barely fit another car in between these two drivers. So that's how close they are. So JP is basically leaving himself enough room between himself and his teammate MX currently on track to not make a mistake under braking and get into the back end of his teammate. Obviously, he doesn't want to ruin his race. He definitely doesn't want to ruin his teammate's race, and he obviously, that takes both these drivers out of, potentially out of P1 and P2 if a mistake is made. So you see JP just playing it really safe and smart here, I think, right now. I think he has the pace to be right on MX's bumper, to be honest, based off what we've seen early on in the race here today. But I think he's just playing smart here and making sure that there's not contact made between the two drivers so that they can get the best result possible for their team. So far the driver's doing a fantastic job, and it's not easy driving in JP's position right now either, ladies and gentlemen, as he's driving essentially in some dirty air. When you start to get closer to the back end of the car in front of you, you start to lose clean air in your car, and that definitely affects the way your car handles. It affects the aerodynamics of your car. It affects your turn in into a corner. It also affects under braking, which means you do need to start to brake a little bit earlier. As you can actually see just right there, a perfect example of what I'm just talking about he was in a little bit of dirty air there, had a little bit of overspeed, and the car didn't want to react on his turn-in, and it actually shot him out there a little bit wide. He had to kind of almost gather the car up in a sense there and get it back on the racing line, and that's just due to driving in dirty air. So he did it. He made a great correction there. Really, really great correction from JP there as he's driving behind MX to not allow the car, of course, to hit the sand trap there, as that'd be devastating to his pace and his time here for the lap. But again, he's still in contention here for the race lead. So you see MX and JP really doing a great job here in first and second place early on in the race. We still have 43 minutes remaining, so I'm assuming we'll probably see a pit stop maybe at the 25-minute, maybe 20-minute mark here out of the majority of these drivers. And I'm just speculating. I don't actually know, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what the strategies are from any of the drivers. Obviously, I do, throughout the weekends, hang out, watch the drivers drive on track. I try to get an idea what they're up against. I like to see what drivers are really on point for the weekend, to see which ones to kind of keep our eyes on, stuff like that. But, you know, the drivers relay information to me as a broadcaster as well, kind of what to expect. But these two are just on a different level today. They are absolutely flying so far. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can continue to keep the pace up like this all race long. So let's jump on with third place Catch here, as he's the first SFR driver in the field here, or the leading SFR driver in the field here today. And obviously with Marco not being in the field, Marco's been kind of the anchor for Team SFR so far in the series. He's really been dominant in the series, and Marco's not here this week. So the SFR drivers, pardon me, having to really step up and fill the shoes of Marco there. And already we've seen SFR down 2 drivers today in the race as well. And the deal is, ladies and gentlemen, the drivers need to complete 70% of the race in order to be eligible for points in the race. And we have seen Little Mac and Boosted obviously not finish 70% of the race here today. So there's not even going to be any points for those drivers on track here today, which is really unfortunate. So that's definitely going to give IRL a little bump up in that chase in the team standings there. And I do apologize, ladies and gentlemen, just wetting the palate a little bit here. I'm kind of losing my voice. We got to get it back so we can keep talking to you amazing viewers out there. And thank you so much for tuning in. We love you guys. I know it's Mother's Day. Super huge, important day. We love you out there, moms. We really do. Happy Mother's Day. I hope it's just been everything you hope it was. Hope you've been getting lots of good, juicy hugs and love from the fam jam, because that really is what it's all about, man, showing that love. And I got to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, every mother loves that big, juicy hug. Every mother loves the big, juicy hug. You can't think of what to give your mom for a present, or you don't know what to do for your mom on Mother's Day, just go give her a big, fat, juicy hug and tell her you love her. And you'll make mom happy, ladies and gentlemen. Because you know what? Moms don't ever really expect all that much from us, but just to be there and love them and show our support to them like they do to us our entire lifetimes. So, happy Mother's Day to moms. You're absolute legends. And, man, the world doesn't go around without moms. So, huge shout out to there, and of course everybody whose moms aren't with us. Of course, we love you, we're thinking of you, and we know that you're smiling down upon your loved ones, of course, here today as well. So much love out there, moms, and happy Mother's Day, man. Happy Mother's Day. So Catch is he's in an interesting position here right now. He's what I like to say, in no man's land. He's got a pretty big gap, obviously, from first to second place in front of him. So he's got plenty of clean air in front of that Bentley there to really just focus in, dial in on his laps. But he's also got about a 3.5 second gap on teammate Molina behind as well. And so really no pressure immediately on Catch here. So really Catch should just be able to dial in and hopefully just run some really good, clean, crisp laps. Maybe start to close that gap on first and second place here. And hopefully not allow Molina to get any closer. If Molina's going to get any closer, Catch is obviously hoping that he's getting faster as well. So, again, the track temperature, the track conditions will eventually get to an optimal temperature, which they could be now. I just haven't looked. And you'll see these drivers' pace really start to pick up. So let's see if we can find ourselves a little battle here on track. We've got Gil in 5th, we've got Tango 2 Up in P6, we got Seth in 7th. We've got Spec and King got a little bit of a juicy battle together. That might be where we're watching here, ladies and gentlemen. So let's, ooh, a little bit of contact, ooh, and he's just going to sit on track. Well, man, we have been picking some bad times to jump on track with our drivers here today, haven't we, ladies and gentlemen? We've been catching them doing some oopsies. So we do see Spec, he's going to opt just going to pit lane here, and I probably wouldn't imagine King's probably going to follow him in here, maybe. So we see Spec coming into pit lane here now. He's going to make one of his mandatory 2 stops here after that little bit of an incident going into T1 there. Sorry, not T1, T14 I believe it was, ladies and gentlemen. And just a little bit of contact from King there. So definitely wasn't intentional, as I think Spec just went to go around the corner and just didn't have as much room as maybe he thought he had there. I'm not exactly sure what happened. That's kind of what it looked like to me, but you know, it's racing. It's racing. And we still see first and second place MX and JP from IRL. I mean, they are right tight knit together. They are definitely on pace with each other here, and they're in 2 different cars. One's in an Audi and one's in a Porsche here. So it just goes to show that you know the different cars are definitely showing some prowess here today. And then we've got the Bentleys here for basically all the TMS. So pretty much all the drivers for SFR are in the Bentleys here. And we got Molina and Catch just a couple seconds apart from each other here. We've got Gelspeed for SFR in 5th as well. Tango 2 for Team IRL in 6th. We've got Sephiroth for Team SFR in 7th. He's coming up on some lap traffic there. We've got King now in 8th place with Magic Man now in 9th. Spec 1 is just coming out of pit lane here, so he has finished his pit stop. And he's back on track here. We've got Darmel just coming around here right now. Big sweeping corner coming into the final sector here. And it's an interesting corner. You think you can full send that corner, but there is some point where you do have to finally have a little bit of throttle control, unfortunately. So we see Specs drop down to 12th here. We've got T, V1 in that McLaren in 13th, and then we've got Shark Attack rounding out our field here in 14th. And of course, we have lost 2 drivers here very early on in the race today as well in SFR drivers Boosted and Little Max. So I guess the big question is now is when are the leaders going to decide to stop here? We haven't. Our top 8 drivers are still having to make their first pit stop of the race here. And then every other driver through the field has made their first stops here. So a little bit of pit strategy already coming into play here very early on today, as we see Sephiroth coming around. And I'm going to imagine we're going to see Sephiroth coming pretty soon. We did see him involved in a little bit of an incident there as well earlier on in the race here today. So with that being said, I would imagine he's probably going to be pitting fairly soon. And that Lamborghini really does sound great, ladies and gentlemen, doesn't it? It sounds absolutely fantastic. Yeah, oh, what do we got here? Do we got a little battle developing here between Gel and Molina, perhaps? No. So we do have JP now in pit lane here as well. And we also have Tango 2 in pit lane making his stop here as well. So these drivers are making one of their 2 mandatory stops here early on in the race as well. I said about the 20-minute mark. We're actually at the 30-minute mark. I said about 25-minute mark, I figured. So the guys are pitting a little bit earlier than I expected them to. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Now, obviously, ladies and gentlemen, we are not going to show you guys their fuel situation. We're not going to show you guys the tire situations for these drivers. uh, mainly because I believe in fair play. And oh, we see V1 making a bit of a mistake there, coming around the corner, just a little on the throttle early, got a little bit loose, losing the back end of that McLaren, getting himself into the sand trap there, and the sand doing exactly what it's there designed to do, slow that car down so it doesn't hit the wall. So unfortunately for V1 there, he spinning out, but fortunately for him, it only costing him time there as the sand trap does do his job and slow him down so he doesn't make severe contact with the wall. So it does at least save him from severe damage with that spin. But we see Spec now in 14th here as well. So it'll be the final pit stop is really where we're going to see, I think, a lot of the strategy come into play here today. We may see some of these drivers not take any more than that liter of fuel. I guess it all depends on their fuel situation coming in and out of pit lane. So we do have Catch. MX in first place, still has yet to stop. We have Catch sitting currently in P2, also has yet to stop. We have Molina sitting in P3, has yet to stop. We have Gelspeed sitting in P4, who has not stopped yet either. Sephiroth now sitting in 5th, who hasn't stopped. We have King currently sitting in 6th, who also has not stopped yet. And then drivers who have made their one stop, 7th place JP, who was sitting in 2nd. We got Magic Man in 8th. We got Tango 2 in 9th. We've got Darmel in P10. Rig Pig in 11th. We've got V1 in 12th, and we see V1 coming out of pit lane here right now. Shark Attack in 13th. Going to move up into 12th here, I believe. He's just going to pass V1 coming around pit lane there. And Spec 1's just coming through here right now, coming around New Holland, down the start-finish line. So should gain a little bit of time there on V1 as well. So let's see if we can find a battle. MX now making his first stop. Catch following the leader in. Molina does opt to stay out. What's Gelspeed going to do here as we're coming through the chicane here? They all opt to stay out as well, and we got ourselves a nice little battle brewing here, so let's go take a look at that. Now, a little bit of contact there on the back end of Darmel. You see Gelspeed just letting out the throttle a little bit there. Realized that he tapped the back end of the driver there and allowing him to maintain his position. But that also forces the driver behind in Rig Pig to have to react there. And it looks like obviously Rig Pig handled that quite well as he's right there still in the mix of things. But Gelspeed's kind of in a weird position there with the drivers as... he hasn't made a stop yet, and these drivers have. So we do see Rig Pig going around there. Maybe that was Darmel. Sorry, Rig Pig's in the jag behind here. So we do see Darmel going back around Gelspeed there. And then we've got Rig Pig just behind. So he's in an interesting position. This is what I was talking about, where it starts to get a little bit confusing, ladies and gentlemen, as obviously the drivers are on different pit strategies. So you're going to see blue flag situations that are not necessarily blue flag situations. And now we see Gelspeed making a move back on Darmel there going into the hairpin. So that was actually a really good move by Gelspeed there as he got around Darmel there in Bentley versus Bentley little showdown there. So, and he's starting to run away from Darmel slightly a little bit there. And we actually see, looks like Rig Pig and the Jag has gotten around teammate Darmel as well. So Darmel struggling a little bit in that final sector, and actually causing him to lose a couple of positions, which is unfortunate, but that's the way it goes. That is the way it goes. So we now see the leader, Molina, coming in for his first stop. Gel's opting to go back out yet. Sephiroth opting to stay out. King is going to... We're not sure yet. We'll wait to see when he comes around here. So King is going to dive into pit lane here as well. So most of our drivers have now completed those first initial stops. So Gelspeed's currently leading the race at the moment. So P1 here is SFR driver Gillespie with teammate Sephiroth just behind, and Molina. Now, Molina has made his first stop, so Molina will inherit the lead here when Gillespie and Sephiroth finally opt to make their first stop here. Or should inherit the lead at least anyways. So let's jump on board with Molina here. And we did see race control come in saying we're at the halfway point of the race there, so we're just a little under 30 minutes remaining here today, ladies and gentlemen. And so far it's been a pretty good, tidy race here at Barcelona, but not a whole lot of action. We see the drivers space out quite quickly here off the race start. Now that is probably due to just all the drivers being super cautious at the race start. Again, there was no red flags in play here at the race here today in Barcelona. The red flags have been removed from the series, so the drivers had to be 115% on point at the race start here today, and they did a really great job. So, but by doing that, of course, it did space some of the drivers out very quickly. Alright, so we still have Gillespie on track. I wasn't sure where the drivers were here. Gillespie actually looks like he's got a fairly sizable gap on the rest of the drivers in front here. And we definitely know that we're going to be seeing the drivers coming in here to pit sooner or later. Gillespie and Sephiroth are eventually going to have to make their pit stops here. But then again, different strategies from different drivers. So we do see a majority, a good solid third of the pack kind of on similar strategies. They pit quite early for their first stops. And then we've seen the leaders pit about at the third waypoint through the race, maybe just a little bit later, for the most part at the same time. And then we just have a couple drivers really opting to stretch the pit window out here on this first pit window, and we're seeing that with Gillespie and Sephiroth. So is that strategy going to be enough to get one of these two drivers a race win here at Barcelona today? We have yet to find out, but we're definitely going to find out in about 27 minutes time, 25 minutes time, ladies and gentlemen. So the time is just melting away on this clock here. And while we wait for the pit stops to kind of sort themselves out here a little bit, let's just go through a couple more little tidbits here for you guys that we have here. Fastest lap on record currently in Barcelona is from Max Verstappen. It's a 1:18.149, and it was in the 2021 Spanish Grand Prix. And it was done in the Red Bull RB16B car, obviously. He was driving for Team Red Bull in that during that season. So absolutely crazy fast lap by Mr. Max Verstappen. And then our GT3 record is held by a gentleman by the name of Jim Pia, or Pla, sorry, not Pia, Pla, or Play. And it is a GT3 record is 1:45.732, and he did that in the Ferrari 488 GT3 Evo 2020 version. And the same driver actually owns the Group 4 record at Barcelona here as well, with a 1:55.478, and that was in the Mercedes AMG GT4 car. So clearly this is that man's racetrack, as he holds both the GT3 and GT4 lap records. All right, so let's go. We see Sephiroth now coming into pit lane. He is making his pit stop here First one for the race. So Gillespie now the only driver left to make a pit stop here. So we would assume you're going to see him make that stop soon because they have to make 2 mandatory fuel stops here. And what we do see is King has made his 2 stops, and we have seen Darmel has made both his stops. So both these drivers are done now. And that's what that little green means beside the number of their name there, what we're looking at there. It means that both those drivers have completed both their stops. So race leader currently Gillespie, who has yet to make any stops here today. Is Sephiroth now coming out in P2 here? Is he going to hold down P2 from driver Molina, though? No, he does not. So Sephiroth, Molina now taking second place here. We got JP now moving back up into P3. We got Catch now moving up into 4th. MX is back up into P5 here. And Sephiroth now coming out in P6. And I believe that's where he was running before the round of pit stops anyhow. So he didn't lose any time, but he didn't gain anything there. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with gel speed now. As the race progresses, we got Tango 2 currently sitting in 7th. We got Magic Man, who's now made in pit lane doing his final stop here, sitting in 8th. We've got Rake Pig in 9th. We got PRC Prek King in 10th place. We've got V1 in 11th. We've got Spec up into P12 here. Darmel is in 13th, and Shark Attack rounds out our field here today. So we're not really seeing any battles going on specifically here at the moment. Again, the drivers are quite spaced out. Really, I guess the battle currently on track is between Catch and MX here. So, kind of funny that the headmaster behind SFR is battling hard here with our headmaster from IRL. So, both these guys are league officials for the respective leagues and battling each other on track here for 4th place currently. And MX has had pace on Catch all day long here. So, going to be really interesting to see if Catch can hold MX off here. Woo! And you can really see that Audi making up a ton of ground in the braking zone there, but he had the bail there. He was going to make contact, so he did a really great job at avoiding that contact with Catch there. So huge respect to MX there. And, I mean, the number one rule of racing etiquette, ladies and gentlemen, really is if you know you made a mistake, you don't ruin the other driver's race. Do everything in your power to avoid contact with that driver, and that's what we just saw MX do. So MX lost a little bit of time, obviously, there, but he didn't ruin his race. He didn't ruin the driver in front's race, and both these drivers still have a crack to continue on here. So, number one rule of thumb is you always do everything in your power to make sure you avoid contact with the driver in front if you've made a mistake. And MX did a really fantastic job of doing exactly that right there. But that does give Catch a little bit of a cushion on driver MX here. Now, as you can see, that is about a 2-second gap currently between Catch and MX here. So, really unfortunate for MX that he had to avoid contact there, but fortunate for Catch at the same time because it gave him a little bit of breathing room from the pressure that MX is applying here with just about 20 minutes left in the race here today. So, we going back to the garage. We're going to go look for a juicy little battle here. Now we have Gel Speed is finally made his pit stop. And we do see Molina's coming around that start-finish line right now. So he is absolutely going to pass Gel Speed here. So he will take the race lead back from Rockefeller Racing's Gel Speed there. And I would imagine Catch should get position. MX will also get position. And you see MX is closing right back up on the back end of Catch here again, and a little better judgment coming into T1 behind Catch there, not making that mistake, and he is right on him coming out of Renault corner here as we come in through into Repsol here right now. This is a kind of a tricky corner, and you can see MX trying to get the move done on the outside here. So, a little bit of contact again between the two drivers there. And that was definitely, MX just turned in a little bit too hard there and just clipped the back end to Catch there. So, unfortunate there, but again, great racing etiquette by MX there. Making sure that Catch keeps the position there and race on. So, great job by these two drivers. They're really battling hard here in the latter stages of this race. We're in the final third of this race here, and And these two are just battling hard. So let's jump on board with Catch here. As him and MX are just really having a great battle here. And I mean, ideally at the moment right now, Catch's job is to do everything in his power to keep MX behind him here, so teammate Molina can try and start to open that lead up in first place. Now, that is the ideal situation if we're talking about the team aspect of this challenge or this series we're running here at ACC. And, I mean, we are running a 10-man versus 10-man team, essentially, when the race field is full. So, Catch's job right now is to try and keep MX off of Molina's bumper, basically. And we just see MX going into pit lane there. So MX maybe deciding that he's just battling harder than he maybe needs to be right now. Go into the pit lane, get himself out of that situation, and hopefully get into some clean air. We see Catch making a mistake there into the cornering there, so he's definitely going to get a track limit warning for that. Pardon me, ladies and gentlemen. I got the hiccups right now. We're trying to suppress them here. So that was a pretty good battle there, but we see an MX opting to pull it into pit lane and just remove himself from what was turning into be a tough situation, I think, for battling and just wearing and tearing on the car. So we see him in pit lane here. Tango 2's just coming around JP. So MX is going to lose a couple of positions here. We see V1 coming here as MX is coming out of pit lane here currently right now. And he does come right with a car coming on pace into corner one there. But great job by MX's Shark Attack to get navigate T1 and 2. Well, obviously one driver coming out of pit lane, one driver coming down the racetrack at full race speed. But it was good timing. It was and just a great job by the drivers there to get through there clean. Obviously, they don't want to cause an incident coming out of pit lane either. But the drivers do have to be aware that pit lane's there coming into T1. And the guys coming out of pit lane are going to be on that inside line. You kind of just don't have a choice. You have to give the driver coming out of pit lane that inside line for safety's sake. And Shark Attack doing a great job there to just allow him to get through there so no drivers ending up in an incident there. And we've seen Shark Attack getting around V1 there as well. So MX coming out in 6th place there currently, as you can see. He's going to have to be battling some traffic here, though. So let's jump on board with... Well, let's jump on board with JP. Now, JP's the first driver who's completed both his pit stops here. So, Tango 2, Gelspeed, Catch, and Molina still got to make another stop in order to meet their mandatory pit requirements here. So, we're going to sit with JP here for just a couple of minutes and see if the early pit strategy really does pay him dividends here. As you can see, Spec 1's just behind JP here. Spec 1, of course, still has yet to pit, so that's why we see Spec 1 as lap traffic, essentially, right there. And again, that's where some of the confusion starts to come into play, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, I'll try to do my best to keep that all sorted out for you guys. So, Spec essentially still is on the lead lap, but currently with the pit situation, he's not. But once he pits, it's going to sort all that out. It's really complicating. Yeah, it's tough stuff to follow. Tough stuff to follow, but I do suspect, based off of the distance, he really should be able to either jump a couple drivers up ahead of him or at least be right there in the battle once those drivers make their final pit stops here. So let's go find a battle. Let's go find a battle. Let's jump on with Sephiroth here, as I do see. I don't see it necessarily a battle, I guess, necessarily developing here at the moment, but we do see 8th place driver Magic Man not that far off, and of course Sephiroth having to deal with some lap traffic here as well up ahead of him here. So Yeah, it's about the closest thing to a battle we currently have on the racetrack here at the moment. So we're just going to stick with this for a couple of minutes here, see what happens. See if Magic Man can close up on teammate Sephiroth. See if Sephiroth can navigate V1 and the McLaren up ahead of him here as well. So you can see Sephiroth really is closing up that gap on that McLaren. He should be able to potentially be making a move here at the end of the start-finish line, I think. Sephiroth really getting a nice, good, clean exit through the second part of the chicane there. So coming around New Holland, he should have a good run on this McLaren here and should just be able to use that slipstream to get around here. And there shouldn't be a defense here from V1. And there isn't. I suspected there wouldn't be. But you can see that McLaren definitely has some straight line speed prowess there. Now, are these drivers going to be able to survive this? Yes. So Sephiroth does manage to get around V1 there. V1 doing a good job there to hold his line and allow Sephiroth to get around. And then Magic Man's now going to do the same thing on the charge to catch Sephiroth here. So got Rig Pig and P9, and we got King rounding out our top 10 here today at Barcelona. With Spec in P11 here, we got Darmel in P12. We've got V1 and Shark Attack in pit lane now. So it looks like he's making his final stop here. So we still have Molina, we have Gel Speed, we have Tango 2, we have Rig Pig, we have Spec 1, we have V1 and Shark Attack, who all still need to make that final stop. And that is definitely going to shake up the running order here on the track a little bit as we move forward towards the final stint of the race. Now, I guess the biggest question is here, ladies and gentlemen, are the drivers going to make that pit stop going into the final lap, take that splash and dash, go, or are they going to stop before that, get it out of the way early? I guess it's a big question here now to see how some of these drivers round out their final strategy. Obviously, Molina and Cat sitting in P1 and P2, not wanting to lose those positions as they have drivers very, very close behind in third place. I apologize, I made a mistake. It's Gel Speed in P2 and JP in P3. So Catch is trying to now catch JP. So JP has indeed gained a couple of positions with the early pit stop. So let's jump on board with JP here as he's now currently sitting in P3 here. And the two drivers in front of him still having to make both their final stops as well. So JP potentially turning out to maybe be at the best position here on the racetrack currently right now. Opting with an earlier pit strategy could very well be doctored right into P1 near the end of the race here. So we'll have to see how all this plays out. It's definitely getting down to the wire here. We're within 10 minutes and 50 seconds remaining of the race. At the pace these drivers are going, we're looking at about 6 or 7 more laps, and that is going to be it, ladies and gentlemen. So after the race today too, ladies and gentlemen, as well, stay tuned. We are going to jump into Discord. We're going to do some driver interviews with these guys as well. So yeah, that should be fun. That should be fun. So we do see Spec 1, who is lap traffic ahead of JP, essentially, just in the picture there. And then we see Katz just behind there as well. So Katz, of course, working really hard to catch JP there for P3. But JP also trying to work hard to close up that distance between himself and Gel Speed and Molina. And it looks like that Molina's now made his pit stop here. So Gel Speed currently holding the race lead for Team SFR, and the only driver left in the top 9 drivers to make that final stop. So let's see if Gel Speed goes in right here. Doesn't look, yes, he is going to dive into the pits right there. So we do have Molina now, who should be able to get past Gel Speed here coming around. I'm not 100% sure on that. It depends on the distance between these two drivers on track. So Molina is now coming into the final chicanes here. Turns 14 and 15 here, ladies and gentlemen. And then going to be coming around New Holland right here up to that start-finish line. So where's Gelspeed? Gelspeed's just getting into pit box right now. This is going to be close. It looks like Molina should get past him here. So where does Gelspeed come out is the big question. He's lost position to Molina. He's definitely lost position to JP. He has lost position to Catch as well. And now we have MX coming down start-finish line with Tango 2 right in tow behind. Now, are they going to get that position on Gelspeed as well? It appears so. Yes, Gelspeed's just coming out of pit lane right now. So he went from first all the way down to what looks to be about 7th or 8th place. So Molina does retain the race lead here. So we're going to stick with Molina here currently for a couple of minutes here on the racetrack. Obviously, he's our current race leader. These drivers have made all their pit stops. And the top 10 drivers now, with the exception of Spec 1, have made that final pit stop. So it is Molina in first place with JP in second, with Catch in third place, currently filling out the podium at the moment. And Molina is looking pretty good with a fairly sizable lead of about 5 seconds on second place driver JP here. So big turn of events here is JP and MX both had the pace for this race and definitely had the winning pace, but a little bit of pit strategy has definitely played out in Molina's favor here today, and potentially looking at a race win. So and we're just under 7 minutes remaining, ladies and gentlemen. Just under 7 minutes remaining. So we're within that 4 to 5 lap window here. So we're definitely on that home stretch of the race. So Molina's looking quite strong very currently with a 4.3 second lead over second place driver JP. And JP with about a 3 second gap over third place is Rockefeller Racing's Catch. So SFR managing to find their way up into P1. We've seen Molina get a little bit sideways there. You've seen the car get a little bit squirrely there. So he gathered that up really nicely there. But we did see the car get a little bit loose there coming out of that corner. So Molina really just needs to focus, hit his marks, dial in, and should be able to drive away with this race win here today. JP is a very quick driver, but 4 seconds is still a lot of time to make up on a racetrack. So as long as Molina keeps it clean and efficient here, I don't foresee JP really catching up here. But weirder things have happened. This is racing, ladies and gentlemen. And we do say JP is now coming up on spec here. So Spec 1 will have to, of course, cede that position to JP when JP catches him, as Spec is in a blue flag situation here. He is lap traffic. So and third place Catcher with a looking pretty comfortable here. Looks, he got 13-second gap on MX. So MX decision to pit and get out of that battle with Catch earlier on, and it didn't seem to help him very much there. It actually seemed to hurt his positioning a little bit on track, which is unfortunate. And he's finding himself just sitting off the podium here currently in that Mother's Day livery in that Audi. So really unfortunate to see. We got Tango 2 sitting in 5th place here. He's having a great race as well. Sephiroth is now sitting in P6. Gelspeed sitting in P7 there. We got Magic sitting in P8. We've got King sitting in P9. Spec 1 sitting top 10 here currently. We got Rigpig in 11th place. We've got Darmel sitting in 12th place. We've got V1 in that McLaren sitting in 13th. And we've got Shark Attack rounding out our field here. So 14 of our 16 drivers still on track there. It looked like we see Shark Attack having a little bit of a mix-up in the chicane there, but we just jumped off track as that was happening. So we'll do our best to catch everybody coming across the start-finish line today, ladies and gentlemen. Again, you know, it may or may not happen. It depends on where on the track they are when they cross the finish line, and if we can catch it in time. But we are with our current race leader, Molina, who's 1.7 seconds ahead of lap traffic Spec 1. And then we have JP sitting in 2nd place with 3.5 seconds behind them. So Spec 1 right now is acting as a buffer for Molina. as far as pressure from P2 goes. So really, Molina's just got to keep it clean here. Just got to keep it crisp. Again, JP still does have to get around and navigate Spec 1 in order to get a shot at Molina for the race win here today. So a little bit of work for JP to do. And at the end of the day, these guys, he's running out of time. We have about 2 laps remaining here in the race. So he has 2 laps to get the job done here. So Molina has 2 laps to hold the race off for the race win here today. And then we've got JP sitting in second and Cat sitting in third place. And of course, they're going to be looking to hold those podium positions as well. Obviously capitalize on those team points, and not only that, for Molina, Catch, and JP, of course, to capitalize on their overall standings individually as well, as they're all sitting quite high up in the standings. So important race for all 3 of these drivers here today. And MX, obviously our pole sitter here today for the race, just off in 4th place there, so just off the podium currently. And we are going to sit with Molina here. Now, JP has definitely dug into that 4-second gap. He's turned that 4-second gap into a 3-second gap here. But again, he's just running out of time here in the race today, as we should be on our white flag lap here, if I'm not mistaken, coming around here. This will be our final lap. So you can see Molina actually gaining some time on Spec and JP there coming through that sector. So Molina's looking really solid, really strong here. And looking like he's on his way to a nice juicy race win here today for SFR. JP showing some solid strength here as well. With a really strong race for Team IRL. Catch again with another great race for Team SFR currently as well. Of course, the race isn't done yet, ladies and gentlemen. Anything can happen. And then MX just behind Catch in 4th place there. So an SFR IRL top 4 currently. Coming around, what are we looking at here? Woody might get one more lap in here, but I got my doubts on that. Molina has to basically shed a 144 lap here in order to get that extra lap, and at this point I'm probably pretty sure that that's not really what the ideal situation. Next time he comes around, he's hoping that timer is done so the race is over. Take his race win. Thank you very much, and be a very happy camper here on Mother's Day. And JP really dripping that time off on Molina here now. So we see JP has just gotten around Spec 1. So now JP is on the charge to try and catch Molina here. Can he do it is the big question. We're not leaving our race leader here. Obviously, this is the battle for the lead is the important battle here on the racetrack. And although it's not a very close battle, JP is absolutely pushing that Porsche right now, trying to catch Molina here. And he's running out of racetrack. He's absolutely running out of racetrack. We got 13 seconds left of the race. Can he get it done? And Molina will win round 6 with JP finishing in a very close 2nd place. We got Spec 1 finishing in 10th. We're going to have Catch come across in 3rd place. Our podium is finished out SFR, IRL, SFR. Now we got MX coming across in 4th place. Tango 2 now coming around. Tango 2 is going to come across the field here in 5th as well, ladies and gentlemen. So really great racing by all our drivers here today at Barcelona. And great stuff, man. Absolutely great stuff. We see Rigpate coming across there in 11th. Darmel coming across at 12th. We got Sephiroth now coming across here in 6th place with teammate Gelspeed just behind in 7th. Magic Man now coming through that final chicane here and approaching New Holland corner here. And then he's going to round out in 8th place here as well for Team SFR. So great run for Magic Man here today as well. We've got PREC King as well coming up here, and with Shark Attack there as well with them. So these two will come across the line in 9th and 14th position here. And we just got V1 left to come across here. So we will wait with V1 as he's coming around the final chicane here again, coming into New Holland Corner, ladies and gentlemen. And V1 going to finish out the in 13th place here today at Barcelona. So really great job by all the drivers on track here as he's going to come around. Bam, right there, ladies and gentlemen. So there we go. There is our finishing order. Molina finishing in first, JP in second, Catch in third, MX in fourth, Tango 2 in fifth, Sephiroth in sixth, Gel Speed in seventh, we got Magic Man in eighth, we've got King in ninth, Rig Pig in 10th, Darmel in 11th, we've got V1 in 12th, we've got Spec in 13th, we've got Shark Attack in 14th, Little Mac in 15th, and Boostin in 16th. Both those drivers retiring very early in the race due to issues with their vehicles. So just give me a momento, ladies and gentlemen. We just got to jump into the chat room. All right. See all the cars coming into pit lane here. They're all coming around from that warm. What a great shot that is. We got about 6 to 7 of the cars that are lined up. So basically we're just kind of waiting for the drivers to jump into the Discord here. And once those drivers jump into the Discord, we'll commence with some podium interviews for you guys this week. So it'll take a couple of minutes, obviously, for these drivers to get in here. They're still on track. They're still doing their thing. But really pretty great job by all the drivers here today. Beautiful, beautiful race start here. Nice, clean T1 and T2 today. And a couple of drivers finding themselves in trouble throughout the race. But for the most part, it was a really fantastic race. You see drivers having fun, spinning some donuts here, celebrating, having a good time. That's what we love to see. Just drivers having some fun. Could be just an ACC glitch I'm unaware of. I don't know. But yeah, there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. So very mixed result here in the field today. So SFR 1, IRL 2, SFR 3, IRL goes 4, 5, SFR goes 6, 7, 8, 9, and then IRL goes 10, 11, 12, SFR 13, and IRL 14th, and of course 2 drivers, unfortunately, who won't collect points here today because they did not complete the mandatory amount of the race. So we just kind of chilling here. We're just waiting. And great race by the drivers. So SFR coming back at the end of the race there to manage to sneak out that race win from the dominant 2 drivers, in my opinion, who really were JP and MX today. They just had incredible pace all race long. But Molina and Catch coming out with strategy at the end of the day, and the strategy really getting them ahead and gaining them some good positions. So and maybe none of the drivers are going to come in today. I don't know. All right, well, what'd you guys think? Your internet died? Yeah, that's what I thought happened, Boosted. You were having lag spikes on screen there, too. I was really worried about that. Gutted, bro, gutted. And we did see, of course, the other driver retiring early was RWB's Little Mac. RWB Little Mac getting into Rockefeller Racing Sephiroth early on into the race, and just causing a bit of an incident. And then I'm not sure what happened there. He kind of he slowed down to wait for Seth, and then he got into the wall, and then maybe just damaged that car beyond repair for the day, and just had to park it. And I mean, that's racing, right, ladies and gentlemen? That's auto racing. You know, parts break. Mistakes get made, and sometimes the guys just don't make it through. That's why it's racing. That's why it's a surprise on who's going to win and who's not going to win. That's what makes it fun. That's what makes it interesting and exciting here. So after 3 hours of racing, okay, so Little Mac also having a similar issue, ladies and gentlemen. It was actually a connection issue from Little Mac as well. So unfortunate for Team SFR here today, as both those drivers having disconnects in the race here today. So super unfortunate. We're gonna hang out in the interviewing room just for a moment here, as we do see JP's just bounced in here. So we're going to give it a couple minutes and see if Catch and Molina come in. Oh, there we go. There's Molina there. So now we're just, of course, waiting on third place finisher Catch, who may or may not come in. Alright, great job, gentlemen. We're just going to see if Catch is going to pop in here, and then we'll commence some interviews. Now, we do know, ladies and gentlemen, that typically Catch, if the interviews are on PlayStation chat, he doesn't partake because he runs on Discord audio, but we are doing our interviews on Discord here today, so we may or may not see him. So maybe what we'll do is we'll jump to second place driver JP, and we'll go through an interview with JP here. So let's switch our audios around. Let's get this audio shut off, and yeah, we'll start with we'll just move over to second place driver JP. So really great drive by you today, JP. To start with, you had incredible pace through qualifying, and we've seen that last week with you as well through the two qualifying rounds. You had very incredible pace, and opting to make a very early set of pit stops, and it ended up being a nice strong P2 finish for you. So congratulations on your race finish to start with, and talk us through it. Tell us a little bit how your race went for you.
Sure. Thanks. First, congrats to Jim Molina. Awesome race, dude. Yeah, my race, well, at the beginning, everything was working fine, but at my first pit stop, unfortunately, I crashed in the wall. So I did repair the damage, and so everything went well also, but I crashed another time afterwards, and yeah, I definitely know I had pace, but yeah, I think at the end my tires were a bit done, and I did everything I could to go back to see what Molino was doing at first place, but I missed some time at the end, unfortunately.
Well, and I mean, you were definitely pushing near the end there to try and catch Molina, as we saw. You had to navigate 10th place driver Spec 1 there, obviously, as he was kind of right in between you and Molina at the end of the race there. And in about the last 3 laps, you took that gap from about 4.1 seconds to being one more lap within a shot of potentially battling for that P1 position there. So really solid push at the end of the race there. And I know you just said that your tires were really starting to go off and you were struggling with the car, but you shed 3 seconds off the race leader there right at the end of the race and almost put yourself in a position to win there. So really great job, and glad to see that you finished really well here today. As obviously last week you had great pace in qualifying, and of course again today. So great drive. And what's it like handling an endurance race here over on ACC for those of us that don't know, of course?
What's it like? Well, it's that's 60 minutes. It's pretty tough. It requires a lot of concentration. So if you miss just a bit of concentration, sometimes you can. That's when you can crash, as you saw today. So that's my biggest concern each time I go into a race.
And of course, with the couple of crashes, did that at all affect your initial pit strategy moving forward?
No, I didn't. I kept the same. I thought I had the great, the best strategy to win, and no, it really is just a matter of some mistakes today. But still, congrats, Jay Molina. He was very on point, no mistake. That's what it takes in this game to win.
Absolutely.
Hey, thank you, JP.
Of course, consistency is always key, especially in endurance racing. We were talking about that quite early in the broadcast while you guys were in free practice. We were talking about how typically the most patient drivers are always the ones that fare fairly well in races, just because they are more typically inclined to be consistent as opposed to really just putting down that blazing fast lap all the time, right? So, congratulations to both you guys. And I don't think Ketch is going to pop in here today, so we're just going to jump over to Molina, who had a fantastic race here today. It looked like his strategy worked out beautifully. But as I was just talking with JP, they're having to really fight to keep JP off of you right at the end of the race. In the last 3-4 laps of the race, what were you thinking in your mind there, as you could see that live timer probably shedding down a tenth of a second per corner there for a while?
At the beginning, I was looking at it, but at the end, I just stopped looking at it. Like, oh, let me look at the clock and see how many minutes we have for racing. But basically what I did, I noticed that he was about 4.5 seconds behind me. So I said, okay, so I can be, as long as I'm consistent, and I'm between half a second and a second slower than him, but I keep the car on the track, I'd be okay. So that was the plan at the end of the race.
And I mean, as I was saying to JP just earlier too, you did have a little bit of a cushion there with 10th place driver Spec 1 that was fairly on pace with you guys at the time at that point in the race as well. So he wasn't really interfering with your guys' race, but it wasn't easy to get by him either. And with Spec 1 really being pitted in between you and JP there in the final laps, I really think that helped slow down the charge from JP as the race was ending there too as well. But from what we saw from your race, it was very clean. It was very consistent. A couple of wiggles near the end of the race there coming through the chicanes. It looked like you were getting just a little bit early on the throttle there, maybe with some wearing tires. But from what we could tell, it was just a really good, consistent, patient drive, as we always see out of you. And talk us through the rest of the race there.
So at the beginning, it was all about, I knew what my strategy was. And I'm like, I'm going to be slower than the first the first 3. So I just wanted to be consistent, take care of the tires, and make sure that I kept up between 5 and 10 seconds from the first place. I don't know if it was the right strategy, but at the end it played out. I had a full tank of fuel with only 1 liter per pit stop, so that worked out for me.
Yeah, of course, and of course, definitely a different pit strategy here today with the 2 mandatory stops and tires not actually factoring in, but potentially factoring in, because if you do decide to take the tire change, of course, you're going to lose some extra time in the pit lane as well. So difficult strategy. So how do you determine that when you're in an hour-long race like this and the tires are going to wear to a point where maybe you're going to start losing time on the racetrack? How do you decide whether or not you're going to take those tires?
So I had it ready, the tires for the second pit stop just in case. But it's all about filling the car. Can you be consistent at this pace when you have a full load of fuel, and can you be consistent when you have less fuel? But the tires are bad, and it was all about managing that pace. And I'm fairly new at this, so I think it worked out the way I planned it out.
It was a great race, of course, and of course with teammate Marco being not in the field today, Rockefeller's Marco's been an anchor for Team SFR here very early on in the series, so being able to step in and fill his shoes here today for Team SFR must feel wonderful. And of course it's Mother's Day, so getting that big race win for Mom there too as well. So
yeah, you're right.
At the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, really the moms are the winners here today. Happy Mother's Day, of course, to everybody out there as well. And congratulations, Melina. It was a beautiful race. It was fun to watch. And spectacular job by all the drivers at the beginning of the race going into T1 and T2 as well. You all got through there just nice and neat and tidy, and it was fantastic to see. So congratulations on your race win. Enjoy it. And we'll see you next week.
Thank you. Hey, ready for the next one.
Absolutely.
Congratulations, JP.
All right, everybody.
Thank you.
And congratulations to IRL and SFR, both teams finishing on the podium here today, ladies and gentlemen, which is fantastic to see. We love to see the mixture from our drivers like that. We like to see them mixing up the field. We do, it's a battle. These guys, IRL and SFR, it's a real legit battle between these drivers. There's, SFR IRL, SFR IRL, SFR IRL, or IRL SFR. However it works out, that's almost how they're finishing these races, and it's absolutely making for a great series, really great events. So some really great words spoken by Melina and JP there. Unfortunately, we weren't able to catch. Sometimes he comes in, sometimes he doesn't. It's all good. But thanks everybody for tuning in, man. It was fun. It was glad. The stream looked fantastic today, which I'm glad to see. So I just want to give a big shout out to a couple of people. I want to give a big shout out to D.90 and of course Rockefeller Racing's Catch. Both these guys over the last couple of days have really helped me outsource the issues that we were having, and we got the stream up. We got the stream running last night, and we got it looking better than I think it's ever looked, in all honesty, to date. So just a huge shout out to those two guys. Thank you so much, you guys, for helping me with the technical issues so we can get this broadcast out to you amazing fans and all the wonderful moms out there today. Mother's Day again, super important day. Most important day of the year, in my opinion, to me anyways. I know I love my mom. And just don't forget, if you haven't spoken with mom yet, guys, pick up the phone, go give a quick hug, man. It doesn't take much to make mom smile and make her feel good, man. A quick I love you and a big fat juicy bear hug if you have that capability. And mama's one happy girl, man. So tell the moms out there, you're legends. The world doesn't go around without you. We love you. And we'll see you guys next week for round 7. I can't wait to see what round 7 has to bring. And these guys, I'm sure, are going to bring it full steam. So with that being said, on behalf of SFR and IRL, thank you everybody for tuning in. The broadcast, of course, sponsored by Coach Dave Academy, so much love to Coach Dave Academy. And I am GT45 Gaming, your host for the evening. We're signing off for the night. We love you. As I do every broadcast, I challenge each and every one of you viewing to take the chance to do a small act of kindness if the opportunity arises. You might change somebody's life. And most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, stay winning.